Intrinsic mentoring for life has a lot to do with something called Kaizen. So I'm going to introduce the idea of what that means to our process, to our business, and how it can actually help you. We'll be supporting, motivating, and creating new transformative methods for you to succeed together. And that is a key part of this. The three of us, myself, Lisa, and you, will be working together to create the changes that you're looking for. Our philosophy is to form a very solid foundation and not make changes that are fragile and potentially temporary. We're not interested in that type of change. So we want to do it right the first time. This particular graph shows you the idea of when your motivation is really not terribly high and your ability is not terribly high, let's face it, that is not a winning combination. So probably doesn't matter how much effort we put into one or the other or even both, you might not get where you want to go. But if one of them, the motivation or the ability, is high, we have a much better shot at getting you where you want to go. So in this particular graph, motivation, your motivation is very high. And that really is extremely helpful. Now, your ability definitely needs some work. So this might not happen. It's certainly not going to happen real quickly. But our emphasis, your emphasis, will be on improving your ability to get where you want to go. Well, what if your motivation's not real low, but your ability is high? Well, we're going to have to work on this a little differently. We're going to have to work on your motivation, on the mental aspect of things. So again, that's fine. We have an opportunity to work on that and get you where you want to go. Now, of course, the ultimate situation would be where the motivation is high and your ability is high. And in that case, we will be steering you in the right direction for quick results. We have a lot of experience with respect to accomplishing a lot of things in the business world and with you personally. So when motivation and your ability is high, we can really do the difficult things quickly. But we also need to understand that sometimes the two of them are not that high. So when either is low, we need to compensate. We need to look at this a little differently by making the behavioral change sometimes very tiny, so therefore we can make it a habit. A lot of what we do is trying to form great habits for you, habits that you can always rely on. So we at Intrinsic are very proficient at this. And again, this is called Kaizen. Kaizen is an approach for creating continuous improvement based on the idea that small, ongoing positive change can reap significant improvements over time. It focuses on things like eliminating waste, improving productivity, achieving sustained continual improvement in targeted activities that we would give you and processes for you or for an organization that you might work with or for. Kaizen is a Japanese term, meaning change for the better. As you can see by the characters to the left, Kai means change and Zen means good. So that is really what we're looking for. This is a business philosophy that was developed by the Japanese after World War II. They really needed some direction badly. So it sees improvement in productivity as a gradual and methodical process that Lisa and I are very good at. Now, there are business benefits to Kaizen. And again, the Japanese have used this continually for the last 60 odd years to get where they are right now. It's all about reducing waste. And waste can be done physically and mentally. And it is one of the key aspects. We're also all about simplifying work processes. Kaizen benefits people and companies by eliminating overly difficult ways of doing something and trying to make it simple. In the business atmosphere, it's also improving safety. And it also really has a great deal of improving the employee and customer satisfaction. So it's been a winning process for a long time for the Japanese. You'll find out we'll be probing and asking questions that may seem a little simple to you. But it's going to enable you to immediately get moving in the right direction toward each and every one of your goals. And I'm sure you have more than one. So even a small movement to you and to us is a victory because we are rewiring habits so there's no falling back. You can think of your New Year resolutions, and I can think of mine. They don't always come true, do they? We don't always continue working on them. So we need to have some patience. And if you consider that doable, anything is possible. Here's a graph that shows you what just working to the idea of being 1% better every day. This was worked out by mathematicians. And you can see the arrow that is going up. That's over a 1-year period. And it will get you closer and closer to where you want to go just by taking tiny steps. But you can also see that if you're not doing that, that it's conceivable your decline is going to get worse and worse. So we concentrate on the following. We do work on your attitude. Your attitude is very pivotal. It has a lot, of course, to do with your motivation. We want to help you with respect to increasing your network and how to go about doing that. Yes, we even work on the idea of exercise and how important it is to do it for your health, but also your energy. Gratitude, very important aspect that some people overlook. And then, of course, we're back to your habits. Your habits are really, really important, which have a lot to do with increasing your habits. So to give you some ideas, let's look at one goal, meditating for 30 minutes every morning. It's not a very easy thing for a lot of people to do. The pros are, it improves your focus, your calmness, relaxation, your emotional balance, even your immune system, your self-esteem. It can reduce some different things like anxiety and blood pressure. The cons, depending on how you want to go about doing this, it might mean you have to get up early. You might have to get up a half hour early to do this. And that brings in the idea of self-control. That doesn't mean that you have to meditate and get up early to do it, but it just gives you an idea that you're going to have to make some changes. How about saving $1,000 for vacation by August? Well, you get to go on a vacation, see maybe a different country, experience maybe a new culture, and so forth. But what's that going to do? Well, if you're into buying clothes, that might be a problem. You might not be able to purchase some new clothes for the next 3 months just so that you save up enough money to be able to go on your dream vacation. And one more, how about improving your diet and dropping 20 pounds in 4 months, which is doable. But again, self-control is going to be a very important thing. There are so many benefits to dropping that extra weight that you might be frustrated with, disappointed with yourself. Better health, more energy, better sleep. Maybe you'll be able to fit into your clothes better. You'll feel more attractive. You'll be more confident, and so forth. But again, there are cons. And we do need to bring up both the pros and the cons to you and come up with a way of handling this that you feel comfortable with. The cons here, you might not be able to eat junk food for a long time, or you might not go out with your friends every Friday night. So there are different things that you might have to give up to finally acquire that goal. We work on a lot of different parts of your mind and your body. For example, too many people have a very fixed mindset that, hey, look, I am as I am and I can't change. You definitely need to change that. We definitely need to help you change that. You need to have a growth mindset that you can improve in any area that you put your mind to. We don't want you to feel the idea of scarcity mentality. There are an abundance of opportunities out there, an abundance. And we want you to feel like you deserve it. And there are so many possible options for you to get where you want to go. We want you to totally get rid of your negative thinking as much as possible, and therefore improving your positive thinking, looking at situations as being great opportunities and that things will always work out if you just keep working at it. Remember the 1% every day. You definitely don't want to be problem oriented, blaming others. We want you to become solution oriented. We don't want you to be reactive. We want you to be proactive. It's a very positive thing to be able to set your goals, create your plan for the day, create your plan for the week, and work it. We don't want you to be suboptimal thinking. We want you to be optimal thinking. And finally, you are not always right. Nobody is. We want you to understand that you need to be more agile in your thinking and really consider other options and try to work through it. So again, one more time, let me show you the graph. Again, this was done by mathematicians. And that line that goes up over a 1-year period, saying if you did actually improve by 1% every day, look at how much you'd improve. And you might improve more than 1% every day. You might have some weeks that you just make huge gains, but just 1% better every day. And this graph showing that you'll be 37.78% better by the end of the year. Now, Kaizen can be shown in a lot of different ways. I'm going to show you several different pictures of it to give you an idea of what it actually is all about. I'm going to start up at the top, is orange. And the Japanese, again, with respect to their business model, this is how they went about things. They always got their employees involved and looked at their ideas, no matter how tiny or small it was, how they could improve something. And then they gathered a list of the problems. They encouraged solutions and started to choose ideas of how to handle this. They then tested the solution and see if it did make a difference. They measured and analyzed the results. And if they found out this change or these changes were successful, they adopted the solution at that point. And then they repeated it on an ongoing basis. So I want to stop at the gray part up there at the top left. They repeated it on an ongoing basis. It's conceivable after taking something and making some changes, you do see some improvement. But you also see that possibly going through the cycle again might improvement it even more. Here's another way of looking at it, and you might find this even simpler. Step one is top right, identify the problem. Why isn't something working as well as it should? Why is it not smooth? So you identify the problem, which we will do again together, and we'll analyze the problem in step two. Let's see what's going on, what's causing this. Again, together, we develop a solution. Step four, we implement the solution that we have come up with at this point. We analyze the result. Are we where we should be? Can we do better? And if we think it really is working well, we'll standardize it. This is going to be part of a habit. So this is the Kaizen process. But here's another way to look at it that you can see sometimes online. They call it the 5 S's. So we'll start up at the top with the word sort, and I'll explain every one in the next slide. And then you set in order, you then shine, standardize, and then you sustain it. But again, even when you get to number 5, understand that you do take a good look at it. Can I get better? And if somebody comes up with a better idea, even if it's just minute, we incorporate it and go through the cycle again and see if it's even better. So what's sort mean? There's the Japanese word. You're removing the unwanted, unnecessary, unused, obsolete parts. These can be in so many different places. We're going to delete, for example, obsolete and irrelevant files. It just sort of frustrates you because you can't put your finger on what you really need at that particular moment. That's just an example. So we're going to sort. We're then going to set an order. Once the unwanted stuff is cleared, the next step is to organize and arrange what still is around, still existing in a very neat, accessible manner. You want to make your life easier, better, more successful. Shine, after they're kept in order, the entire workplace, business-wise, would be clean to give a neat and fresh appearance. This is going to help you with your motivation and your enthusiasm because your workplace, whether it's at home or it's in another environment, is going to be set up for you to always be successful. Standardize, we want to make it routine. It's a routine practice, and we're going to keep with it and make sure that we create a habit that you can live with and that you feel good about. And then finally, sustain. The final and important step is to sustain these changes, stay on top of it. And Lisa and I are both very good at trying to keep a person doing what they need to be doing. We'll be asking you, are you doing this? Are you staying with it? So every weakness, every problem can be improved by being methodical and always trying to improve every day. Your improvements can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And again, we're going to do this all together. And I want you to think of the word Kaizen constantly. It is a method that works very well in the business world, but also personally. So welcome to the Mentoring for Life process. There's our logo. And again, we consider all the elements of one's life, the mental, physical, and spiritual parts of things. They all blend together. They all need to be worked on. They all need to be at a higher level. So every part of your life is focused. So your success is achieved, is permanent and growing. Person's success is a continual process. And we at Intrinsic take this very, very seriously.